What is up, y'all? This is the Apoth Green. Happy Tuesday, or whatever day you stumble upon this, because whenever you find it, or whenever it finds you, is when you are meant to stumble upon it, as this reading is indefinitely timeless. Please also understand that energy is fluid. So what I mean by that is he could be a she could be a he. You know, I could pull a King of Swords and be talking about your Aunt Marjorie. It really doesn't matter. Energy is genderless, sexless, it's fluid. Outside of that, please only take what resonates and leave what doesn't fit, and just let it sit and let it marinate for those who would like to listen, okay? Alright, let's go ahead and dive in. So, I had mentioned in the last reading that I would like to start also incorporating monthly segments in which we speak on, for instance, we just entered Virgo season, and so I would like to do some Virgo season predictions, and monthly we will be doing so. Okay, not just Virgo season, obviously, like next season will be Libra season, and so we'll talk about Libra season, and then Scorpio season, and then so on, right? So, I think y'all understand the gist, because y'all are very, very smart cookies, and you probably don't require a lot of explanation for things, but I definitely do want to go about ensuring that y'all get your good content, you get your readings, and I also wanted to provide some more so light-hearted content outside of the serious stuff that I post, because that's like, the main message is usually the crucial serious stuff, right? So I kind of just wanted to break away from that, and like that doesn't mean that serious stuff won't come up in these, seasonal predictions, but rather there isn't necessarily like a huge collective topic, okay? It's not so heavy, it's not so, you don't have to put as much effort. This is purely for your entertainment, okay? You may have to do some inner work, but yeah, let's go ahead and just dive in. Let's just let it be what it is. Alright, so for our intro, I cloak myself in a chiffon of pink. I ask my spirit guides, ancestors, deities, angels, and Mother Nature ground me in a protective glimmer, so I may think and so that I may shimmer. I am your oracle of the light, your seer in the dark. Please grant me that creative spark and allow me to bask in your divine essence through this confusion and stark. I am you and you are me. Voice through me these messages you wish to speak, and blessed be. And so it be like that. Alright, I don't have any angel numbers or anything for this particular reading. We're just gonna, dive right in. I will first and foremost be working with the Disney Villains Tarot deck. That is written by Minerva Siegel with illustrations by Ellie Goldwyn. Okay. What would the divine like to tell us about Virgo season? What are some predictions coming in for Virgo season for my Virgo babies? I feel like a lot of you are just kind of like ready for winter, ready to hibernate, looking forward to a quiet winter, and I don't blame y'all. It's been very noisy lately. Okay. Okay, we got a couple there. We'll put that for crowning energy. Now let's go ahead and get some main energy. Interestingly enough, we got the Hermit out here for our crowning energy. It is in reverse, but it's out here, and that is the, you know, #1 Virgo card. Okay. Looks like we got everything. So, for our crowning energy, we have the Hermit, and we have the Hanged Man in reverse. The Hermit is in reverse as well. We have, for our main energy, the Ace of Coins, the Ace of Swords in reverse, the Four of Coins in reverse, and the High Priestess in reverse. For suppressed and oppressed energy, we have the Devil in reverse, we have the King of Cups, and we have the Wheel of Fortune. For outer energy, we have the Chariot in reverse, we have the Knight of Wands, we have the Queen of Cups, and we also have True Love, aka the Lovers. The Queen of Cups, by the way, is in reverse. Okay, so I'm kind of surprised we don't see the Magician out here, because especially in reverse, because I feel like, you know, you have a lot of tools on your tool belt that you're not necessarily ignoring them, but you're taking them for granted. With the Hermit in reverse, especially next to the Hanged Man in reverse, I feel like, you know, especially since, like, that channeling I got toward the beginning, it was that readiness for hibernation and for winter and to Hermit, right? But the Divine are saying, you know, is this, you know, because your battery is truly low, or could this possibly be a trauma response? And is it possible that, yes, while there is a lot going on in the world right now, is it really going to be beneficial for you to be hermiting? Now, I'm not saying that, like, you know, you can't charge your batteries or anything like that. What I'm saying is, I understand that with this energy, it kind of feels like you want to crawl under a rock and not have to deal with people. I feel like you've probably been coming across some really interesting individuals, in the sense that, you know, maybe a lot of times when you go out, you know, there's just some sort of conflict or altercation, be it, you know, someone's treating you rudely, or they're just flat out treating you badly or disrespecting you. You know, and it could feel like a lot of different avenues could be attached to this. So this could be on the internet with cyberbullying. This could be, you know, anytime you just, you know, go out, like to the store, or, you know, on an outing of some sort. You know, this could be going to work. This could be going to school. This could be if, like, you game or something, you know, this could be the gaming community and how they treat you. This could be numerous things. I feel like a lot of it is outside of you, though, and it's making you want to retract and go within. Don't ignore that feeling to go within, because, you know, especially with the oppressed and suppressed energy out here, we've got the Devil in reverse, we have the King of Cups, and we have the Wheel of Fortune. Because you definitely do need that time to go within and just, you know, work on yourself, work on your emotions, and really figuring out where this need to hide yourself is stemming from. Because, you know, I don't blame y'all for wanting to hermit away. The world is a wild place. But what I'm also trying to say is that just because other people are miserable does not mean you have to be miserable too and to hermit yourself. Like, I am getting, like, not necessarily like SpongeBob energy, but like, you know, just someone who is curious about the world and does want to get out and adventure and enjoy. But I feel like, especially with the Ace of Swords in reverse here, and the Ace of Coins paired in the main energy, and then the High Priestess in reverse, and the Four of Coins in reverse. It's like you are trying to save yourself the expense of not knowing how you will be treated when you do venture out of your bubble. You know, are people going to come out with their swords? Is there, you know, are they going to fucking, you know, just try and stab you in the back, or take little daggers and just poke at you? Like, it feels like this is creating a lot of resilience within you. And I'm not saying that, you know, you deserve this, or that, you know, it's your karma or anything like that. Honestly, I just feel like a lot of us are feeling the aftermath of not only COVID, but we are also, a lot of us are just having a lot of introspective moments, and a lot of us are thinking on a grander scale in terms of humanity, and realizing that there are, you know, humanity problems, and a lot of people are angry. A lot of people don't treat others right. You know, Dr. Romney had said 1 in 6 people are narcissists. So if you have 6 people in a household, there's probably going to be 1 that is a narcissist, which is wild to think about, right? And I'm talking about adults here, okay? Not like children, because personally, I don't feel like you can really label a child as a narcissist. I feel like children and teenagers are just kind of self-absorbed because they're still learning. And for them, you know, I do feel like kids are born with a lot of compassion and love for others, but they are also taught how to reduce their empathy. And we see that on a grand scale through humanity. You know, I feel like a lot of you are very, very highly sensitive individuals. If not, you may be on the spectrum. You could have dealt with a lot of trauma here. We have the Devil in reverse out here. And that's not always, you know, addiction or anything. It could just be like, you know, quote unquote, battling with our own demons, right? Like, you've been doing a lot of the emotional work here, and you've been putting in the time and effort with the Devil in reverse, the King of Cups, and the Wheel of Fortune. And with the Ace of Swords out here in reverse next to the Ace of Coins, and the High Priestess in reverse, and the Four of Coins in reverse, I understand that, you know, sometimes you don't know exactly what you're walking out to. Okay, like when you do, like, go out into the outside world. But just know, hermiting away to avoid all of these swords and daggers next to the Ace of Coins, this Ace of Swords in reverse, you might be missing out on some opportunities because you are choosing to hermit away. Okay, and we haven't even touched the overall energy yet. Like I said, we have the Chariot in reverse, we have the Knight of Wands, we've got the Lovers here, or True Love in this case for this deck, and we have the Queen of Cups in reverse. I feel like you could have an issue particularly with energies of, I mean, it could be with, like, you know, both genders or any gender someone decides to label themselves as. Excuse me, but I feel like y'all particularly have been having common issues with, and this has been for years, just with individuals who are particularly of the same gender as you. or sex, whatever you claim. I feel like y'all just, and it's not always you either. I mean, again, like, I do see you've been doing the inner work and everything. I just feel like, you know, a lot of women have that ingrained, you know, need for competition, especially in terms of, like, you know, from a misogynistic standpoint, and like how, you know, there's the ideal image and the ideal woman, and how nowadays, you know, it's glamorized to be part of hustle culture. And so even if you are doing better, you know, or doing worse, it doesn't matter. They want to compete with you, or they just, you know, treat you like scum because they, you know, have a personal bias. For instance, you know, like, you could be going out to a store and, you know, you're checking out and you try to talk to the grocery clerk and they heard you and they look at you and then they blatantly ignore you. Like, I understand that a lot of us are in positions in which, you know, we don't want to be in. I get it. But I also feel like a lot of us need to learn about the emotional maturity aspect of things and not projecting. And I'm not talking about, like, you know, Virgos in particular. I'm talking about humanity in general. A lot of people are just acting weird, okay? And a lot of it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And a lot of it is a projection. You know, with the Knight of Wands out here, I love that character. What is her name? I think her name is Miss Mim. Miss Min. Let me pull her up. But she is just a wackadoodle. And I feel like this is kind of a reminder, especially, you know, with the Hermit in reverse here and the Four of Coins in reverse, you know, definitely save your energy for those who, you know, deserve it. But at the same time, don't limit yourself and keep being yourself, okay? And if someone has a problem with it, you know, if you're not hurting anybody, that is their problem. Okay. Knight of Wands. Her name is Madam Mim. And she is a tenacious spellcaster who rivals with Merlin the Wizard. Okay. She is just a cuckoo banana lady, but, you know, she really embodies who she is and takes it to a next level. And I feel like that in itself can, you know, irk others. And I feel like that is something that irks others about you too, is how much you are willing to just be yourself. But on that same token, I feel like a lot of individuals that you encounter, especially with the Four of Coins in reverse and the High Priestess in reverse and the Ace of Swords in reverse and the Ace of Coins, like, I feel like people have a lot of presumptions about you, a lot of assumptions in the sense that, you know, some see the coin before they see anything else. So you might not even be decked out in designer brands, but this might just be how people perceive you, as someone who, you know, makes quite a bit of money. And, you know, their own thoughts and vision gets clouded by that, and that's all they're going to see. And so they have these personal biases before, you know, you even come up to them and talk to them. With the Queen of Cups in reverse, again, that's their problem. I also see with the True Love card out here, you see Ariel and Eric about to share a kiss, and then in the background it's Vanessa, you know, like acting maniacally. And Vanessa is essentially Ursula, just, you know, she shape-shifted. I feel like you may be dealing with a lot of people who do know how to shape-shift energy. Or I feel like this is very, very controversial, but I feel like people who do encompass, you know, multiple realities within themselves, and so, you know, projecting in different personalities, if that makes sense, not having a fault personality of, like, you know, of who they would be, but multiple personalities that, you know, they may have mimicked or taken from other people or films or music or books. I feel like people see how you operate through this world and how you are happy to be yourself. You know, and this is aside from the people who just see the coin. The ones who just see the coin just really have no self-awareness. Okay, and so that's what they look for within everybody. Okay, they really have no self-awareness. But in this sense, especially with like the whole multiple personalities thing, I feel like they see you just being yourself, and you know, you're not just some copy and paste. You're not, you know, some character out of a book. You're not just this random manic pixie dream girl, you know, again, a copy and paste from 500 Days of Summer, or, you know, all those fucking movies in which that was glamorized. But they see you embodying yourself, and I feel like a lot of you are coupled, and they see you both embodying yourselves while supporting each other and giving each other love and seeing the interaction. And I feel like it just like short circuits these people, because they cannot fathom how someone can do that, because again, their personality is literally multiple little pieces from other people just stitched together. And I'm not talking about like, you know, in for instance, if you're on the spectrum, especially if you're younger and you're masking, you will, you know, take on mimicry. And so, you know, I'm not necessarily talking about that. I'm talking about, you know, the people who are doing it in a malicious sense. Okay? Doing it to manipulate. Picking up these pieces of personality in order to manipulate, to garner attention or some sort of benefit, okay? Like, it feels very transactional, but they see you interacting with your partner, and again, it just like makes them short circuit. It like, some of them might even say like, you know, y'all are so cute, it makes them sick, but you know, that's on them. I feel like a lot of people do crave intimacy. And that's why hookup culture is so abundant right now. A lot of us don't realize, I don't even know why I'm grouping myself into that. A lot of individuals don't realize that hookup culture is rampant right now, because so many want emotional intimacy, but they don't know how to have it. And they don't even realize that they're craving it because they are that dislocated from their mind and body and self in general. There are so many people who are just very disconnected from themselves, unfortunately. And encountering an individual like you, it could be very daunting and intimidating. And it just kind of like sets the premise for competition. All right. I also feel like it is time for you to, if you don't have a journal, maybe get one, because I feel like you are a bit unclear about the, how would you say, the strengths that you carry, you know, and the good points within your life, because, you know, I feel like you are, you know, just encountering a lot of messed up individuals, okay? And that's not how the world is. That's not everybody, but a lot of people really could benefit from doing the inner work that they choose not to do. Maybe take some time, if you have a journal, and sit down and really reflect on, you know, what were you like 5 years from now? How would you have responded to this situation 5 years from now? Take into account all the time and effort you have put into doing the inner work. And this isn't, you know, again, to place you into another competition with these individuals, or to necessarily say like, oh, you're better than them, blah, blah, blah. It's just to say like, look at how far you've come. Look at how much you've grown. Do not let someone who, you know, is acting out of their 5-year-old self, their 10-year-old self, do not let them bring you down to their level. Okay? It's their problem at that point. It's their fucking problem. And if they want to feel that way, that is totally okay. Again, most of the time it's a projection and it has nothing to do with you. That was an interesting little spread. But yeah, please don't be holding yourself back just because, you know, people want to act a certain way. Like, that's kind of like their goal, you know. And as they say, you know, the devil will come to you through many faces, as many as he needs to in order to stop you. And I'm sorry that you keep encountering these people. I know that it's hard and it can hurt because, you know, most of the time, you know, you're just out here just doing your thing, and then all of a sudden someone wants to fucking attack you. And it's like, dude, what the fuck? I get that. I also feel like it just comes with the territory. Like, when you do the inner work, people, like, the way you interact with others, your mannerisms, how you treat others, it's very apparent that you have done the inner work. And that, again, just short circuits people. It just short circuits them. And they're going to, you know, either they're going to try and, like, get a reaction out of you because they're miserable and feeling a certain type of way. But that doesn't mean you gotta act upon it too. Like, let them stew in that misery on their own. Okay. 9 of Cups in reverse. Oh, by the way, I switched decks. I'm using the Modern Witch Tarot deck now by Lisa Sturl. Okay, 8 of Pentacles in reverse. Yep, see, like... okay. 5 of Swords in reverse. Let's get another. Oh, okay. The Devil, King of Swords in reverse. 3 of Wands. The Tower. Like, yeah, right off the bat, like... That's so funny. Okay, so I did not do a particular spread. I just pulled cards and they're laying out. We have the 9 of Cups in reverse for main energy. We have 8 of Pentacles in reverse, 5 of Swords in reverse, the Tower in reverse, 3 of Wands, King of Swords in reverse, and the Devil. The Devil, I feel like, as a flag for the main energy, it will be encompassing every single card. And so just know that that will pair with every single card in the main energy. For overall energy, we have the 8 of Cups, we have the 9 of Coins, or Pentacles, excuse me. We have the Fool, and we have Judgment. Like, I feel like for the most part, and by the way, like, I love the Fool card. Like, if y'all haven't heard it lately, like, some of y'all are some fashionistas, like, you just look like money. Even, again, like I said, if you aren't, you know, wearing designer brands, these people just see how you are, and your energy is just radiating outside of you, and your energy, in a sense, is wealthy. You are wealthy in spirit, and people pick up on that. And some of you may be wealthy in the material world too, but they mistake it for wealth in the material. I feel like y'all do have a confidence and a love for who you are on the inside because you have done so much work to get here. I feel like, you know, if not coming from a place of, you know, being highly insecure, some of you may have even dealt with things such as body dysmorphia, or really strong anxiety, or really strong depression, or even PTSD, or things of that nature. Like, y'all have come a very long way to get here. Do not let some fucking rando, even if they aren't a random, even if, like, you know, it's like someone in your family or your circle of some sort, you know, you don't have to deal with that. You can turn your back on that shit. You do not have to deal with that. With the Eight of Cups, you do not have to deal with that. Use your better judgment with the Judgment card out here, okay? And do know that judgment is being called upon those who treat you badly. Just out of nowhere, out of the fucking blue. Like, what the fuck? We had the wheel out here earlier, like, karma. People are actively getting karma. Now, are they self-aware enough to realize that it is their karma? With the Tower in the reverse and the King of Swords in the reverse and the Three of Wands here, I don't know if they realize it's their karma. Because again, we have the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Nine of Cups in reverse. We have the Five of Swords in reverse. You're out here laying down your swords. Meanwhile, they still want a sword fight. And most of it is an inner battle, okay? It's a battle with themselves that they're projecting onto the outer world because they refuse to do the inner work. This Tower, it's all coming from within, baby. Like, whatever is going on with our inner world is going to leak out into the outer world. It's just, you know, it's imminent. I find it interesting that we got the Devil in both spreads. Like, he's lurking. In the Fool card, we also have a little tiny dog. Aww. So some of y'all might have pets. I feel like people are a little jelly belly of your pets too. How you take care of your pets, how you interact with your pets, or your connection with animals in general. I feel like you and animals are just very, very connected. Like, this dog is, like, ready to jump off this cliff with this lady in the Fool card. Like, this dog don't give no fucks. It will jump off the cliff with her. Obviously, she is not going to jump off the cliff, but this bitch got her headphones on. Like, she is not paying attention to shit, and she might just walk off that cliff. That is the energy you should be in. Not necessarily walking off cliffs, but put in, if you have headphones, maybe get some noise-canceling headphones. Use those when you're out and about with other people too, if necessary, because I don't want anything bad to happen. Again, people are just cuckoo banana. But I just want y'all to be able to go outside, just like this Fool card, and feel that carefree. To turn your back on the judgment, to realize, especially with the Nine of Coins, how much you have cultivated within yourself, within your life, to get to this point. Because I feel like most of the time when it's just you, or, you know, you and your inner circle or whomever, like, you're vibing. Like, you don't, you know, really question yourself as much. I mean, like, obviously you are, you know, having the self-awareness to question yourself if, like, you know, you need to put your foot in your mouth sometimes. But what I'm saying is, like, you're not walking on eggshells, and you're not just, you know, receiving judgment for everything, or, you know, being told that everything you do is wrong. This, especially with the King of Swords in reverse out here, you might have an individual who might have some sort of authority over you. They could be an older individual. They could definitely be male, but again, King of Swords, I could be talking about your Aunt Marjorie. But with the King of Swords in reverse out here, like, and it could also be multiple people. This group, this person, whomever, these same demons with the Devil out here, but with a different fucking meat sack, different fucking face. Same individual, different face. I feel like they are, like, going out of your way to, or out of their way to, you know, pick apart things. I really do. And I feel like they probably see you as someone who, ironically, because I feel like they're lazy, but they see you as someone who is lazy, who doesn't do much, who, you know, might just be on their electronics a lot. They see you as someone who is not agreeable. They see you as someone who might be a bit opportunistic. But I feel like, again, with Judgment out here, it's crashing down, dude. The Tower is theirs. The Tower is in reverse. It is for the King of Swords in reverse. It's not for you. And with the Three of Wands, like, if you want to see it come in, you're welcome to, but I don't know. Typically, I just kind of hope for the best. Because honestly, like, I don't like watching people go through their karma. Because a lot of times it's not a pretty sight. And it does, you know, tug on the heartstrings. A lot of people do, like, you know, have to pay it forward. And paying it forward isn't always pretty. Let me put this deck away. Let's go ahead and get some advice from the Moonology. I was hoping for a lighter read, but I feel like y'all have been, you know, cooped up, bubbled up in your bubbles. And that was coming out heavy, so it seems like that was definitely the topic for the Virgos. Try not to Virgo too hard. Try not to Virgo too hard. Alright. I'm also, you know, typical Virgo. I just want to say, my friend, you do not have to do everything perfectly. You know that. Alright. What is some advice the Divine would like to give for Virgo season? For all the Virgos. Virgo season advice. You know, it's not just for the Virgos either. It could be for anybody. Alright, we pulled one card that is a fiery climax approaches, and that's in reverse. Full moon in Aries. For overall energy, we have a time to give rather than take, new moon in Virgo. And we have what do you need to release, waning moon. As well as, in reverse, a new romantic cycle begins. New moon in Libra. There is some new moon energy on the outside, definitely. But the full moon in Aries with the fiery climax approaches in reverse. I feel like that is to remind you that when you go out, yes, you may encounter some individuals who have that fire lit inside of them, and it's not necessarily always a fire of passion. Sometimes the wand within is a flame of anger. These people are probably in a huge amount of pain and misery. And, well, while we all wish that the world was different, you know, we just cannot control everything. With the fiery climax approaches, like, again, yes, you will encounter those fiery individuals, but how you react, what you give to them, what sort of reaction you give, that's up to you. Even you in yourself could be a lesson for them with how you react. You could lead by example with how you react. These people with a new romantic cycle begins in reverse, like they don't have the self-love that you do. So maybe release any sort of expectations that, you know, everyone should treat, I feel like everyone should treat everybody the way we should, you know, be treated and how they wish to be treated, but in this world right now, it's not realistic because, you know, people are people and they're gonna people. Try not to be scared of the world, but rather do your best to flow with it as you can. Don't let it control you, and you know, remember that you cannot control it. The world is the devil's playground. You know, it's the closest thing to hell that we have, I feel. And that's if you believe in hell, right? This is almost like, in my eyes, like if y'all believe, you know, in those sorts of situations, or in the underworld, or whatever you'd like to call it. If you believe that there are places such as that in the afterlife, the aftermath, this is essentially the closest you will get to that. It's like purgatory, but on the flip side, it's also the closest you would get to, say, heaven or Valhalla. So we are definitely in the in-between. And it's hard out here. It's hard, but I don't know. I feel like if you can learn how to find solace in the peace and the love and the harmony and the contentment within and the beauty that you have cultivated for yourself, and you can continue to, you know, have gratitude for that and realize that not many people have that. And that's probably why they're attacking you. That's on them. And I feel like that, just remembering that, you know, and sometimes it really just doesn't have anything to do with you, like, at all. Like, they're just in a bad mood. Like, the more you can remember that, the easier it is going to be to navigate the world. You know, like, I had 2 ladies fucking corner me on a Zoom meeting the other day, and I cried in front of them, and then I cut contact. Like, I didn't say anything rude, despite, you know, them laying into me and degrading me. I didn't say anything rude to them. I just decided, you know, after this, I'm just not going to deal with these individuals anymore. I want nothing to do with this company. And that's that. But yeah, I feel like how we choose to navigate the world really dictates how we experience the world too. And the advice here is to not let others' view of you or the world dictate how you move in the world. Because you deserve a good life. Whatever that means to you. Okay, let's go ahead and close this up. By all that is divine, I will now close and exit this reading. Thank you for illuminating the path and for not retreating. Our session has now come to an end. This advice I shall not bend. Please be safe on your path and keep me safe in the aftermath. Blessed be. And so it'd be like that. Again, you know, you dictate how you move in the world. You know, I'm not going to say that there won't be, like, individuals who, you know, will hurt your feelings and whatnot, because, like, you know, there's always going to be people like that out there. But again, it's just how we navigate, and the way that we decide to treat other people, I feel like, is just huge. Even when they're treating us like, you know, dirt, like those ladies, for instance. I could be sitting here, you know, just talking mad crap, but, you know, it just is what it is, and not all of that had to do with me. I'm sure a lot of it had to do with their own financial status and whatnot. You know, it's not my problem anymore. Just like a lot of the individuals y'all encounter, a lot of times this is not your problem. Okay? Alright, y'all. Happy Virgo season. Enjoy. Later.
So then, why?